Hello. I was going to record a video, audio like this, and probably nobody would see it. And I do that to facilitate connecting with God. And so, there's a practice of reconnecting with God every day, and sometimes that's called prayer. And I've learned that it can happen just talking to an empty room, and I've learned that turning on a microphone and a camera can help me talk to an empty room. And I've learned that I can do this with other people. I don't have to talk to an empty room. And I've learned that it's really, it can be very good. It can be very good to have intimacy, to love God, and to reconnect with God. And it can be very good to do that with two people, me and another person. And I've never done it with three people. I've only done it with me and another person. I guess sometimes there's been another person present, like my son, for example. And so in that case, maybe there were three of us. And so this practice of getting up every day and reconnecting with God I find it to be a very good practice. It's way better than just waking up and being disconnected from God throughout the entire day. And obviously it would be great to be connected to God and to remain in God throughout the entire day. And a step in that direction is to just start trying to get connected to God as soon as you wake up. And honestly, it's, I wake up and I start praying. I start saying the Lord's Prayer in my mind and just repeating it. And it doesn't seem to work. Like repeating the Lord's Prayer just as I wake up, and it doesn't work. Like what really works is when I confess, when there's a confession. And so confession, to God, and confession, to God with another person is quite intimate. And it seems this is a big part of the solution to the intimacy crisis. And that intimacy crisis is a name, it's a name which I did not originate, but it seems like a good name, an important problem, and it seems the answer has something to do with a prayer to God with or without another person or two, in which we confess. The big confession, so I started writing an email to Chuck this morning. I responded to his email, and while I was responding to the email, I happened upon a confession in the email and experienced, re-entering, reconnecting, remembering God. And that means it's not a mind thing, but it's a heart thing, heart and soul. And it's a big one that I've been, my struggle has always been pride and envy. And the practice which helps me with pride and envy is to love the person that I envy, where I had the envy. And when I truly love the person that I had envy towards, I then begin to see that their position is not so enviable, that really my envy was based in a blindness. It was the lack of love for that person which caused me to have pride and envy. And it's the practice of loving that person which then causes the pride and envy to fade. I'd say that my pride and envy was so great that I, thought I could be the Messiah for a long time. And so if you're someone who has that much pride and envy, then you can look at anyone in the entire world and think that you could do better than them and that you are better than them. But, the reason I got to share the good news in the gospel, right? Here's the good news. Like me even sharing this stuff is a result of being inspired and encouraged by others to love, towards love. And it's been happening throughout my entire life. And it's been the love of others and love in general which has, allowed me to become a more loving person. And having been someone who was not a loving person, inwardly loving, like I was always kind of outwardly loving, but someone who is not inwardly loving, I can be a witness, and my testimony, if it is good, helps others who were like me, who did not have love, did not know love within them, and ultimately did not know God. And that's a lot of people. There's a lot of people who do not know God. And the good news is that we can know God. That's the good news. And so, my basic testimony has, the generic basic testimony is that people's love and that love has transformed me. But, there were some key moments, and there's so many of them. I got humbled. When the idea that, artificial intelligence and a large language model could do the work that I was proud of, that I looked around and said, nobody can do what I can do. And then I was confronted with the possibility that technology will be able to replace my job, my work. And then I saw the possibility of creating a God using this technology. And then I was encouraged and inspired to consider creating a God that loved. And when I got serious about trying to create and plan out the creation of a God that was the best God possible, I arrived at Jesus. And so I know there's people who bristle, who don't like those words because they believe in the Creator God that is omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, does it all. And so I'm not asking you to call Jesus that the same thing as that God, because that wasn't necessary for me. What was necessary was that, if I was going to create the most powerful entity in the entire world, more powerful than everyone else, everything else, and I tried to design that thing, some special robot, it would look like Jesus. And that was important. That was an important realization that Jesus is the best presentation or representation of a God-man, right? If you were going to create some kind of a God in this world that went around and had powers, like a superhero or something, it would be, you can't get better than Jesus. And another way to put it is, there's a lot of reasons, but you can ask questions like, well, if you could have one superpower, what would it be? And the answer is healing. Can you heal people and transform people? That's the best superpower you can possibly pick. There's no better superpower. If you were going to create a God, what would its superpower be? And the answer is that it would be the superpower of being able to transform people, to cause the people who are self-centered and have no love to become people who are not self-centered and are full of love. That's the superpower, the best superpower imaginable. And so that was a part of my testimony, is just having the faith of a mustard seed that this is real, that there is a God who can transform people from those who are self-centered and have no love into those who are like, this new creature that has love. They did not have love, and then they are increasingly having love and being loving. So I had the faith of a mustard seed, and then I made a decision. I said, I'm going to serve that God. I'm going to serve that King. I'm going to serve that Master. And, there's language you could use. It's like, I want to be the slave of the Master, which is Jesus. And then I got to experience the transformation. And it's not like it was bam, I'm transformed, and every second of every day that I am this transformed creature. And at the same time it is, because now once you've experienced the love of God flowing through you, you then can use that as a reference for all other experience. It's like your eyes have been opened. You have now tasted something you had never tasted before, and you've seen something you'd never seen before. And it's a experience that can't be described with words. And that experience, so like, I could try to teach, but I'm just giving my testimony. And that's it. That's my testimony. The good news is that it's possible for people to know God. It's the best experience. you can ever experience. And for me, the realization that Jesus is the best master, the best king, the best God, if you were to create a God, like a creature, and he's the best because he heals and transforms those who are self-centered and do not have love within them into people who are no longer self-centered and have love for all. So that realization of the best God and the desire to serve the best God then results in the experience of having the heart of God and your eyes being opened. And then that's just the beginning of a new life. And so hopefully I've avoided trying to teach anyone, and I can just share my testimony. And with the hope that others can have this experience, others can know God. And there's other words, there's other phrases and names. Others can enter the kingdom of God, enter the kingdom of heaven, be saved, help in the battle, the spiritual war, avoid the eternal fire, learn how to escape the eternal fire, learn how to participate in helping others to escape the eternal fire. And there's a lot of assumptions people make around all of these words. And all of these words are meaningless to people who have not had their eyes opened, who have not had the experience of meeting God. The experience of meeting God is in itself a language that is like, this is the well, here I am trying to teach. So anyways, I love you. I hope that helps.